Photography carries a power that holds up under the relentless swirl of today's saturated media world, because photographs emulate the way that our mind freezes a significant moment.
When I first met Paul Strand, I was just starting out in photography. The thing that really struck me, he said, the important thing is, you have to have something to say about the world. I had never really thought about it that way. Not just go out and make nice images, but what was it that you had to say about the world? In 1906, when Strand was starting out in photography, he went to visit Alfred Stieglitz's little gallery in New York. Stieglitz was the most influential photographer in America at that time. At the gallery, he saw not only Stieglitz's work, but all the leading American and European photographers. That day, he decided, this is what I want to do. Photographers at that time were using soft focus to prove that photography was more than just mechanical reproduction. It was art. When you go out into the world with a camera, you have to work with reality as it is. You can't change it. You have to find an order in the chaos. As Strand said, find out what it is you have to say, and make it work in a rectangular space.
And seeing this reinforces for me that every one of us has at least one or two great photographs in them. But to be a great photojournalist, you have to have more than just one or two great photographs in you. You've got to be able to make them all the time. But even more importantly, you need to know how to create a visual narrative. You need to know how to tell a story.
In October 1890, a curious volume went on sale in the bookstores of New York. Called How the Other Half Lives, it had been written by a 41-year-old Danish-born police reporter named Jacob Riis. It would change forever the way people thought about the city. Eventually, he landed on his feet and managed to find work as a police reporter for the New York Tribune, and spent the next 10 years exploring the densely crowded slums of the Lower East Side. The sights, he later said, gripped my heart until I felt that I must tell of them or burst. The images Riis brought back brought wealthy and middle-class New Yorkers face to face with a reality most had long sought to avoid. Their city, one of the wealthiest in the world, had become home to more than 1 million overworked and undernourished people, often living in conditions of unspeakable horror. How the Other Half Lives awakened New Yorkers to the condition of the poor, as nothing else had. It was a new way of seeing the world, a modern way, and Riis used it not only to underscore his outrage, but to spur people to action. The slums were not inevitable, he insisted. They had been built by men and men and women could change them.
Now, these stories are great examples of how photography can be used to address some of our most important topics. But there are also times when photographers simply encounter things that are, when it comes down to it, just plain fun.
Well, there's photos on the street, and there's street photography with italics, underline and bold, Myriad Pro. When we're out making videos and we're on the street, obviously we're there to get some test shots to find out how the camera or the lens performs. But then there are those moments of inspiration where something visually intrigues me and I need to take that shot. That, for me, is street photography. Well, simply, it's all about documenting what happens before your very own eyes. And that's the exciting part of it. It's something that plays out in front of you for a very brief moment. And you have to be quick enough to get that shot. And that's the exhilarating thing, because everything you see on the street is always changing. You never get the same shot twice, unless you're taking pictures of the street. I mean, literally the street. But that'd be boring. Well, often it's not about the themes. Sometimes it's just something in front of me that amuses me or interests me. And then there are times where certain elements come together to form a visually striking image. The composition's happening right before your very own eyes, and you have to be there to take the photo at the right moment. And certainly your mind really has to be in it to get those shots. You can't just look at what's going on, you have to really see it. But you really need to think about that shot. There has to be a reason why you want to chase that elusive image before it's gone forever. And it's a matter of carefully picking out a slice of interestingness with your camera from a completely random series of events that are not under your control. And that is what makes street photography new and exciting every time.
I believe that photography can make a real connection to people and can be employed as a positive agent for understanding the challenges and opportunities facing our world today. Thank you.